All right, I have my messages so everybody can see them. I got Dan the man with me, and we are going to talk about packing your donkeys. But before we get started, I want to make sure I say thank you to all of our members. We have new members joining all the time. Thank you to all of our newest members and our members that have been with us for a while. I really appreciate you guys. They make such a big difference.
A huge difference. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. We really appreciate your effort.
Heck yeah. Now for our motivation for today, we've been talking about like what your goals are, like how you're staying motivated, and I have another book, and you guys know who my favorite author is, Mark Rashid. And this one, it's not his typical kind of a book. This one is more like a novel, Out of the Wild. He even made a movie out of it. The book is totally awesome. Highly recommend the book. So that's my motivational one for today. I enjoyed that book.
You did. You talked to me about that book a lot.
Yeah. And let's see. So packing donkeys, we're going to talk about like common mistakes that people make. We have some questions that we're going to answer that people had sent in about packing and about some other just winter care stuff as well. Now, I think that the biggest mistake I see people making with packing donkeys is not getting them prepared before it matters.
Yeah, what does that really mean? When you're on the trail and you're packing something meaningful,
Yeah.
that is not leading practice.
No, that's not the time
Yeah,
for
you,
leading
you will have
practice.
already want to have led your donkey to hell and back.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't want to deal with a situation on a trail while you're hauling your camp or valuables or coffee beans or whatever the heck you're hauling. That's not the time for training.
No. So doing a lot to prepare them ahead of time. That means with leading and with preparing them to pack, because if they're good at leading, that doesn't mean they're going to be totally okay having things that are just giant. Well, they're just like not literally waddling, but they'll kind of look like it because their packs are so big. We want to get them used to carrying that stuff first with just the volume. So we would put in like empty water jugs.
Empty water jugs is my favorite because we use over the saddle panniers, and it's you can take two empty 5 gallon jugs that are the same size, they weigh the same, and you can pack them because the huge volume. I mean, they stick way out their side, and it exaggerates their movement, and it gets them used to having the scary object alongside them and on their back.
Something I noticed with Seamus when we started packing him is when I taught him to lead, he was to walk beside my shoulder. When we got backcountry, he couldn't always be beside my shoulder because sometimes it was narrow, right? Your backcountry.
Yep.
So getting him to go from beside me to walking behind me, it took some effort with Seamus. He's like, nope, that's not how you taught me. That's not how we do it. I know
Right.
the rules.
Right.
Now you changed them.
He was just trying to be compliant the way you
Yeah.
taught him. Yeah.
So then it took more effort with the lead rope to help him understand that right now I want you to be behind me. And now he does fine if we need to convert to that. Eating on the trail, we don't allow it. And sometimes they try to sneak it, right?
So do the donkeys.
Oh, the people and the donkeys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, we always need to make sure we're offering them a good deal, right? And then firm up. So with like Seamus or Stormy, because kind of what happens sometimes is we'll be backcountry, and then when it's long after dinner time when it's time to start coming back, right? So they're hungry, they're hangry, and you can't blame them, but I need you guys to be compliant, cooperative before, like coming back. So when I would raise my hand, and that's like their pre-cue. I would raise my hand, and if they go to eat, then I would like snap the rope. And after not very much time, all I have to do is raise my hand, and they're like, "Oh, that's right, I can't eat. I know what's coming next."
Yep, they know what's coming next. Yep.
So, but being consistent with that, so Dan's main ride was Penny back when we were doing a lot of packing backcountry. How much did she eat on the trail with you?
A fair amount. Yeah.
And what did you do to stop it?
Oh, what did I do? I yanked on one rein, snapped her one rein.
Well, we would have been leading when we're
Oh, when
packing.
we're not under saddle, we were leading. Yeah, I would use that lead rope, pop that lead
And
rope.
you would just pop it.
Yeah, yeah. And again, yeah, with Penny, she'd see, she would notice that I noticed, and eating would stop. Yeah.
They really do know if we're paying attention. Like it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
uncanny how much they know if we're paying
Yeah,
attention.
like a little kid. Uh-oh. My
Yeah.
hand's in the cooking jar. Oh no, I know what's gonna happen now. Okay, I'll take the hand out.
So it's important with any of them, horse, mule, or donkey, and especially a donkey. We don't go straight to like, stop eating, no eating. You know, like you're gonna give them that cue, like it's coming, you got to stop, and then we don't want to like snap the lead rope like over and over and over and be a nag. We want to like get in and get out. So we want it to be as little as they need.
Yeah, as little as they need, as much as you have to. Hopefully, it's as little as you need, but sometimes you have to keep increasing it.
Right, especially to get them to stop. Like once they've committed to eating grass when you're walking, gosh, yeah, they
They
can
get
be a
into the
little
good
bit.
stuff, and they're just no.
Yeah.
You might have to ask them a few times before they get it.
Right, right. Let's see, what else was Seamus? So Seamus and I walked everywhere all the time beforehand. So he was very good at leading. And then we were not putting weight on him because back when we used to do a ton of packing, at that point I still didn't have a saddle that fit Seamus well. So we never put more than 40 pounds in it. So I guess that could kind of bring us to making sure you have equipment that fits your donkeys well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And most donkeys have a pretty darn flat back.
Yep.
So you can't.
And yeah, when we're packing donkeys, we want the saddle to fit correctly. And so that would be your riding saddle. You don't need, we use over saddled panniers. It's simpler. Now you can ride in somewhere with your pack tied behind your saddle. And then if you need to pack something out after riding in, you've got your pack with you. So that rather than having a dedicated pack animal, they can be dual purpose.
I do appreciate the dual purpose. And you know what? I put links in the descriptions for things and I forgot to put the panniers that we use. So I'll add that after this go live. I like that you can get them in blaze orange.
Yes.
That's pretty handy.
Yep. So you got a nice big chunk of. So if you got your critter tied up to a tree and you're out during the hunting season, they've already got blaze orange on them.
Yeah, that's handy.
Yep.
Oh, wait. That was another thing we were going to talk about. So the rule that we stick by is if you're riding like about a third of their body weight, that means tack and everything. And then if you're packing, we stick to 20%. And the reason is when you're riding, you can help balance a little bit, but the pack, it's just dead weight. So it can't help when
Right.
they're in awkward terrain or anything.
Yeah, if they're on uneven ground and now the whole weight is that they're packing is leaning with this, because the ground is not even, the dead weight they're carrying cannot counterbalance itself. So that's the reason for the substantially lighter load when you're packing dead weight.
And then I guess another thing that we always made sure we do, and you can get these little scales just from like Walmart and the fishing section, that's the cheapest.
Yep.
And making sure that the each side is evenly dispersed.
Yeah, and it's got to be even. I'm not like if you think you're gonna pack 80 pounds total, it can't be 37, 43. It's got to be 40, 40. Or you're gonna stop a lot and repack that animal. It's amazing how much easier it is when you invest the time up front to make sure your packs are even. Absolutely,
yeah.
it's penny wise and dollar down to not weigh that stuff and guess at it, because we all might think we can pick up two things with our hands and feel like they're the same weight. You can't. You just can't. So use that scale. Yeah, the fishing department at a department store is the best place to get a scale. Get one that goes up to at least 50 pounds if you're going to be packing up to 50 pounds.
What about some things that we've had go wrong? Remember when we were packing in a wood stove? It wasn't on a donkey, but it was something that went
That
wrong.
was on Hannah's horse, and that we had the weight right. We had, I think, water on one side because there was no compatible water for us up top, and a wood stove on the other side. And what went wrong is that wood stove, it was smaller, but the weight was the same, and it was flopping. And so it kept hitting Roscoe
in the knee.
in the knee. Yeah,
Yeah. So he was he was boy, he was a forward horse under saddle, but he was not afraid of anything.
he was fearless. Yeah, he. Why did we stop? Did he have a
He
blow up?
he didn't blow up, but he kept shooting forward. He was uncomfortable.
Because it kept whacking him in the knee. Yeah.
Yeah. So when we noticed he was uncomfortable, we stopped. We assessed it. It took a moment to figure out it was hitting him in the knee. I think we had to have him walk a few more steps, kind of, and be like,
Yeah.
"Why are you bothered?"
And then since we were halfway to camp, remember what we did? We strapped that wood stove to the back of a teenager, a teenage human, so we'll see at camp.
And he carried it the rest of
Yeah,
the way.
and one of us pulled two animals. Yeah.
There was no way we could have converted it to have it be comfortable for the horse. So then
Yeah.
it was like, we got to change. So, I guess we could have prevented that if we had let him around and just kind of checked our load.
Yeah, if we had been smarter.
Smarter. Another one that we had go wrong. There was we were hauling out elk and Penny's saddle slipped underneath her.
Yep, and that was the case there. I don't think we were. A couple things went wrong there. Long day, far away. I don't know that we might have been a little sloppy on a couple things. The weight balance, and having her cinched up good.
Tight enough. Yeah.
And that's knowing that when you've got a good long ear, when your entire load spins to now the saddle is underneath your mule's belly with elk legs sticking all over the place. And she's a good girl. She froze. She says, "You know what?" So I'm like, "Oh," she stopped. I'm like, "What's going on?"
Right.
And I'm like, trying to hide my panic. I'm like, this could get Western real quick.
Bad.
Yeah. But she stood there while we fixed it all.
Uh-huh.
I think it's because she figured out she could stand there and eat.
She liked that. She liked to eat. So, with that being said, it's pretty common when you are riding backcountry, and we were doing some hard rides back there, that you need to check your cinches every so often.
Yeah.
She wasn't one that would hold her breath.
Mm-mm.
She never did that. But I think just like maybe loss of weight or getting sweaty.
That was the end of a really hard weekend. She had lost a lot of weight that weekend. And we left camp early to go get that elk out. And we rode, it was a reasonable distance from camp, like 7 or 9 miles or something like that. And we got to the elk and tied her and Stormy up, broke out the panniers, processed that elk, started sticking meat in bags, put it on, and left. I don't think I ever double checked in all the chaos.
Right.
The right thing to do is when we got there would have been to loosen cinches, give them a break from being cinched up, and then we started packing, pull those cinches tight back again.
Whenever we would tie them up to a tree kind of a thing, we would always, I feel like I suppose I should never say always, but I feel like we always would loosen up the cinches.
Well, yeah, so do I. But I'm wondering if in that instance, in retrospect, looking at what could have contributed to that almost disaster, one of the things may or may not have been is did that cinch get overlooked?
It could happen.
And let's just say that it did. That directly resulted in a whole load of elk meat going underneath
Right.
the animal.
This was so far back country, guys, that there was stories, we never saw it, but there was stories about people who their horse would explode, take off with all the panniers on and everything, and they'd be finding bows and guns and food and camping gear all over the woods from these horses that would take off, or mules.
Yeah, that's right. Just a random bow laying on the ground.
In a case.
Yeah. Random things laying in strange places from somebody's equine had enough that day.
Yeah. So getting them prepared ahead of time, whenever we're doing the stuff that's important, well, now what? We have a timeline that makes our stress go up. So if we practice this stuff when it doesn't matter, help make sure that our donkeys or any equine are comfortable with it before it actually does matter. Because you're still going to have those one-offs where they're just I don't know, having a bad day, or you didn't notice that whatever thing about them, and they're like, oh, I'm kind of frustrated now, because that happens.
It could just be a cockleburr in the armpit or something that we don't know about. And that's another trigger, the trigger stacking. So and set the critters up for success, because things are working against you. No matter how careful you are, how diligent you are, that thing you haven't thought of or didn't know about and won't know about till it's too late is could happen. And so they need all the help we can give them to help set the stage for a successful adventure.
You know, another thing that we always did when we were backcountry is we would make sure we had a first aid kit with us, with like Butte for them. When your animal, this is a little bit morbid, but when you're that far backcountry, if your horse, mule, or donkey were to pass, they actually, where we were hunting at, they have to bring dynamite back there.
Yes, that's right. We had the manager of that. It was a state-owned chunk of land with an on-site manager. Yeah, they'd go back to the dead equine and dynamite it so that it would not attract bears.
That's pretty freaky, right? Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So, having a first aid kit, and like we carry Butte, not like a ton of it, but we always have a little bit extra from whatever things that have happened in the past. So each of us would have that first aid kit in our pack.
Yep.
And we had one that had its knee, it's hip. So we were backcountry, and this was a horse that had happened to. But we were backcountry. We got back there, and the next morning, our horse couldn't pick up its leg and like bend it.
Who was that?
Danny boy.
That was just old ageism, wasn't it? Arthritis or something?
No, so the mechanism that locks so that they can stand when they're sleeping got like stuck. That's all that it was. And he was old. He was like 30 at the time. But that thing got stuck. So then we brought him to the vet. We got out of there the next morning because we're like, well, we don't know if Danny's going to make it out of here.
Yeah, that was a slow walk out. But he got better as we got closer to the trailhead.
Yeah. So he just couldn't bend his foot. He just had to walk like boom, boom. So having first aid back there, being ready for anything is pretty important when you're backcountry. Let's see. Can you think about any other packing stuff? Words of wisdoms or for beginners? We're not experts.
Just
at
a lot of
packing.
practice at home. Start off with light things that have a lot of volume, like MaryJo suggested. And another, those water jugs. Water has a lot of weight. It's sloshy. It's hard to balance. You might be using 5-gallon jugs empty. You can graduate to a gallon on each side, or 2 gallons. And, a gallon of water is 8 pounds. So you can weigh that. It's a good way it's a good stimulant, because the water wiggles around in there and it makes noise. That really helps build coping skills.
Yeah, we want them to be able to cope with this stuff. Do you remember the first time we put a pack saddle on Seamus? Because we have an actual pack saddle, so it's not like multi-purpose, it's not a riding and stuff.
Did we just set it on him, or did we actually use it?
We never used it because we were never sure that it fit him properly.
Yeah, because he's built like a piano.
He's built like a piano, and his fat pockets are just so dramatic. I've never been able to get him to go away, right? But he was trembling when we put it on him.
He was a scared boy.
He'll do anything now, but he used to be so afraid.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yep. He was, he was very afraid. We had a wild donkey that we worked with for the first time ever today. And she's definitely less scared than Seamus used to be.
He was terrified.
No kidding. She's gonna be coming up for a new home here real soon. Yeah, a wild donkey that I just brought back a couple nights ago. Literally, because I knew she seemed kind of special at the facility, because she, I touched her nose at the facility. She was kind of curious, so got her in a pen with a baby one, and I think I maybe invested 3 to 5 minutes, and then I'm rubbing her neck, I'm rubbing her poles, and got some fingers in the ear, gave her a good ear rub. She kind of thought that was weird, but then she leaned back, she wanted more. But anyways, off on a rant here. She's less scared than Seamus was.
So if you're dealing with a donkey who is like terrified of everything, know that you can work through it. And I don't know how much time it'll take. Part of it depends on how consistent we are. What we recommend is 3 days in a row. There's something special that happens when you're in a row. It could be more, but if you only have 3 days to work, I wouldn't do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Try to get 3 days.
3 in a row. Yeah, there is that has been imprinted on our brains from trainers who've been doing this for a very, very long time. And they're right on it. There's magic. 3 days in a row, not 3 days a week, but in a row.
And I used to wonder about that, like, well, does that mean I should only train them 3 days in a row? Well, it kind of depends on your animal. You're like, you can get by with training 7 days a week, but sometimes you're actually better off to only do 3 days, and then the other 4 days maybe just go pet them and brush them, love on them, right? Not always training.
Yep.
And we got to keep the balance with the connection and cooperation. So practicing this a lot, your donkey will get over its fear if it's fearful or if it's too forward on the trail. I don't feel like we've had too many that were too forward on the trail.
Donkeys?
Yeah.
No, that hasn't really been an issue yet.
We've had some that are pretty forward though, like Blackjack and Joker. They were pretty forward. Do you suggest it be the same behavior? So Banjo, are you asking like work on 3 days in a row the same behavior? The answer is yes. That doesn't mean you need to work for 3 hours, 3 days in a row, but in a perfect world, what I would be doing is 1 hour a day, 3 days in a row. And if they're wild or really nervous
Or young.
or that it's a donkey, like those 3 days or that, let's just say you're giving it an hour, it might be do 15 minutes and then give it a 15-minute break and then
Right.
do 15 minutes.
And working on that specific behavior that you asked about, you'll need to go in each day, at the beginning of each session, review and do the easy things that they do well. Start the session off on things that they can do really well, and then work your way up to the behavior that is a challenge for you at that point in time. So always start off with a series of successes before you get into the difficult behavior.
There's one more part to that though, to really leave your donkey in a good spot. You're gonna climb that ladder of what they're good at to where they kind of max out, and then you're gonna come back down to what they're good at. I'm kind of messing that up. And kind of the way you said, yeah, like I get it because I've made so many mistakes and I still make them today.
And then, yeah, what you talked about, then going back, you go to the specific behavior that was your focus for that session, and you got there and you work on that behavior, even if it went badly, if you didn't accomplish what you wanted to, you got a little bit done. Like MaryJo said, this is just as important as in the beginning, is to end on something that they're really good at. Yeah, that's very, and MaryJo has to remind me of this all the time. I see it daily. The different, if you work your way up to the hard task and you've got little or some success, and then it's dinner time and you take the halter off and say, "See you, Bob." You're not leaving them in the right spot. You gotta maybe eat some cold food and spend another 5-6 minutes going through things that they're really good at, so they have confidence when you leave.
And what we're looking for is for that relaxed state where their ears aren't just focused on you. They're, moving around and curious. Their lips, their face is relaxed. Their eyes are relaxed. And maybe they're doing some of those nice, calm, blinking, taking deep breaths, and then the licking and chewing and blowing. Like all those are signs of relaxation. So let's say what you're doing is you go out there, you brush them, tack them up. Maybe you put those big things into, like empty water jugs or something. And then you start leading them around and they're doing really good until you start to lead. So now maybe you get them to take a few good steps and then maybe you go to do something else. Like you're not going to overdo it, but you can overdose it. So if you try to do the same thing that's hard and an obstacle for an hour, they're going to be like, you are not fun to be with.
Yes. And back on the packing practice, the water jugs. First time you put a pannier over them and do the extra strap underneath, might not be the same day that's the first time you put water jugs on them. Your lesson might be considered a success that you got them to take that pack and not care about it. Then the next day, go through review, put that pack on, and then introduce the water jugs into the pack. So do that in steps. Don't try and bite it all in one chew.
Could you talk more about their relaxed behavior, specifically blowing? Okay, so when we give them a break, and maybe we're standing next to them and maybe we're not. Ideally we are, but with the wilds, I can't always stand next to them. Like that's just a big question all by itself. So when they're relaxing, whether you're next to them or not, they'll have a parrot lip. So their top lip is sticking out, more like a bird's beak. And then they'll start to relax. They'll start to lick and chew, and then they'll go like this.
Yeah, and we hear them do it when they're grazing and stuff like that, but in a training situation, when you hear that blow,
They're letting out stress.
yeah, that's like a big, like if you're a kid in school, it's like, "Phew, I passed that test. It feels so good." They're feeling good about themselves.
That's exactly it. Now, and what's happening there's like scientific stuff. So people think that's when they're feeling good, like they're starting to feel good. And what happens is they go from the sympathetic nervous system to the parasympathetic nervous system. And I think of that sympathetic is speed. So with a horse, that's easy. And then parasympathetic is like they're relaxed, like paralyzed. So that's how I keep the two separate. And when they go from the sympathetic to the parasympathetic nervous system, they're starting to relax and feel good. You're giggling.
Just the science stuff. That's just I've never heard so many syllables in a paragraph in my life. Oh man, nicely done. But yeah, it's what she said is correct.
So what's happening there, like imagine you get home and the door is open and you think maybe somebody's in the house. So you're going to go into that sympathetic nervous system. You're going to go check and see, and then you're like, oh gosh, it was just the wind that blew it. There's nothing wrong. Nothing is missing. Nothing is bad,
Yeah.
right? So then you start to relax, and that's when they'll blow like that.
That's a great
deep
analogy.
breath.
Great
Thanks.
analogy.
And part of that too is that when that happens, when they start to relax, that's where they start to feel comfortable and confident and good with you. That's what we're always looking for, is that they feel good with us. That doesn't mean they have to feel good with us all the time.
Right.
Okay, we're gonna bring up their stress level, and then we're gonna help them learn to cope with it. Do you have your phone? Because there was a question that was sent about worms.
I don't know where it is.
You don't know where your phone is?
It's. I can go looking for it.
Here it is. Okay, so we had a question, and we're about out of time here, guys. So, all right, so I was asked about worming. I'm reading this. So I worm twice a year. I worm after it's after it starts to freeze out, and then in the spring. And in the winter time, I worm with the ivermectin. And I have a video out just about like winter care and stuff. So you can definitely also check out that. And then somebody asked about lice. Lice can be dealt with ivermectin. And then lungworms. I've not even heard of lungworms.
It's doesn't occur much in our neck of the woods, so we don't have any experience with it.
And it could be like something that is regional. Like maybe lungworms are a thing in certain states more than other states. So some of that stuff I would really recommend that you're checking with your vet on what you should do in that. But deworming twice a year. Lice, ivermectin, or talk to your vet.
Yep.
But that's what we would do. All right, guys, we're going to be back tomorrow, and we're going to be we're going to go over to Reed Vite's saddle shop. So we will be talking about saddle fit in his saddle shop. It'll be at 6:30, so you'll have to join us there. I had a custom saddle made for Wild Donkey from him. Yeah. All right.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Good night, guys.
Yeah, thanks for joining us and being here. We sure appreciate it.